Good morning. On behalf of students, staff, and administration of Smith Cotton High School and Sedalia 200 School District, we are pleased to provide this small tribute to all veterans and wish everyone a very happy Veterans Day. At this time, please prepare for presentation of the national colors and singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare along bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, we would like to give a special tribute to the veterans in the audience. As we play each service hymn, we invite veterans of that service to stand or raise their hand to be recognized. The first branch of service is the United States Army. The U.S. Army is the largest and oldest established branch of the U.S. military. It has its roots in the Continental Army, which was formed on June 14, 1775. Would all veterans of the U.S. Army please stand or raise your hand to be recognized?
Shout, counter marching all about, and those big songs go rolling along. For it's high, high in the field artillery. Count out your numbers loud and strong. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And wherever you go, you will always know that those big songs go rolling along.
The next branch of service we will recognize is the United States Marine Corps. The U.S. Marine Corps was established on November 10, 1775. Marines are trained, organized, and equipped for offensive, amphibious employment and as a force in readiness. Would all veterans of the U.S. Marine Corps please stand or raise your hand to be recognized?
From the halls of Mount Azuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First we fight
The next branch of service we will recognize is the United States Navy. The U.S. Navy was established on October 13, 1775. Its mission is to maintain, train, and equip combat-ready naval forces capable of winning wars, deterring aggression, and maintaining freedom of the seas. Would all veterans of the U.S. Navy please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? The next branch of service we will recognize is the United States Coast Guard. The U.S. Coast Guard was established on August 4, 1790, and is responsible for maritime safety, security, and stewardship. Would all veterans of the U.S. Coast Guard please stand or raise your hand to be recognized?
We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in Thee. Through howling gale and shot and shell to win our victory. Send bird mirages is our guide, our pledge, our motto too. We're always ready to or die.
The next branch of service we will recognize is the United States Air Force. The U.S. Air Force has its roots in the U.S. Army Air Corps and was established as a separate branch of service on September 18, 1947. Would all veterans of the U.S. Air Force please stand or raise your hand to be recognized? The final group of individuals we will recognize are prisoners of war and those missing in action. Many of them are not here with us today, but if you are a former prisoner of war, please stand or raise your hand to be recognized. This group of individuals sacrificed much so we could enjoy the freedoms we have today. Please join me in a moment of silence and remembrance of all prisoners of war and those missing in action. Thank you very much. You may have noticed the table set before you. It is filled with symbolism, which I will explain. This table is set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. They are not with us today. The chair is empty, saved for their hoped return. Let us remember their absence. The first branch of service is the United States Air Force. Let us remember the prisoners of war and those missing in action from the U.S. Air Force, honored by Cadet Brines. The next branch of service is the United States Army. Let us remember the prisoners of war and those missing in action from the United States Army, honored by Cadet Parkhurst. The next branch of service is the United States Navy. Let us remember the prisoners of war and those missing in action from the United States Navy, honored by Cadet Belsha. The next branch of service is the United States Marine Corps. Let us remember the prisoners of war and those missing in action from the U.S. Marine Corps, honored by Cadet Comfort. The next branch of service is the United States Coast Guard. Let us remember the prisoners of war and those missing in action from the U.S. Coast Guard, honored by Cadet Skaggs. Let us remember the men and women prisoners of war from all branches of service that are too often forgotten. Let us remember them. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children could remain free. Remember. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. Remember. The black ribbon on the candle reminds us of those who will not be coming home. Remember. The single rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. Remember. A slice of lemon is on the plate to remind us of their bitter fate. If we do not bring them home, remember. There is salt on the plate, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait and remember. The cup on the table is inverted. They cannot toast with us today, maybe tomorrow, if we remember. The red, white, and blue ribbon is tied to the flower base by a yellow ribbon that was worn by thousands who awaited their return. Remember. The faded picture on the table is a reminder that they are missed very much and are remembered by their families. Remember. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. Remember those whom we've depended on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them. The playing of taps has its roots in the Civil War. It earned its nickname because it was often tapped out by a drummer when no bugler was available. According to a Civil War manual, a soldier was buried at the same place his battery had occupied, a position not far from enemy lines. The custom was to fire 3 rifle shots over the grave, but due to the forward position of the troops, the captain in charge decided against the rifle shots and felt that the playing of taps was appropriate. Since it was solemn and also would not alarm the enemy into thinking an attacker was coming, it quickly became a custom at all services for Union soldiers and was officially adopted by the United States Army in 1874. At this time, prepare for the playing of taps. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our ceremony. Thank you for attending and thank you for your service to our great nation. On behalf of all of us, we wish each of you a very happy Veterans Day.